Hi guys, and welcome to yet another video on my channel. My name is Stephanie, and in this video I'm going to be telling you all how I actually prepared to take my NCLEX BSN RN exam and how I was able to pass on my first try. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to this bubbly family where we talk a lot about beauty, hygiene and nursing. And if this is something that you want to stay tuned, let's jump right into the video. The very first thing I want to talk about is the study materials I used. Now, there's tons of things out there or tons of notes that you can use to study for the NCLEX, but I'm going to be telling you what I actually use in order to be well prepared to take my NCLEX. The very first thing was I used UWorld. I know UWorld is something that so many people talk about, so many people rave about it, and I am here to tell you that UWorld works. I am not paid to promote them, but I am telling you what worked for me. UWorld was the bomb. I also used Archer, and I used something they call the 37 pages. Now, if you are very interested in getting that 37 pages, I still have those notes, even though it's been over 3 years ago that I took my NCLEX. Please reach out to me through my email, which is in the link below, and I'm going to be sending you those 37 pages. Now, what is the 37 pages? The 37 pages is going to be kind of like a summary of nursing school, but it's going to be like important things to know, kind of reminders. It is not as comprehensive as it should be, but I can tell you that it gave me like some things to remember and some things that I felt like maybe I had forgotten from nursing school. The 37 notes really came in handy for me. Now let's move on to Archer. I am here to say that I believe in the Archer review, but I didn't consume as much as I should of the Archer review. I can tell you that I probably studied maybe 25% of the entire material because I was very much heavy on UWorld. On the UWorld, it has different chapters on, different subjects. So I knew my weak points. I knew that OB and Psych were my weakest link, or the places where I had my shortcomings. So I made sure to finish all those chapters or all the questions in those chapters, as well as pediatrics. So these were the three main topics or subjects that I made sure that under UWorld I finished every question under this subject. Now for the other units, let's say maybe geriatrics, maybe pharmacology, I kind of made sure that I did at least 80% of those topics just so that I am kind of conversant. Now, when it comes to studying on these platforms, I'm talking about UWorld and Archer review. Please make sure that for every question that you do, you read the questions, you do your best to choose what answer you think is right. And when you get, either it is right or wrong, please, the most important thing about having these platforms is to read the reviews of the particular question answer to that question, if that made sense. Take for example, a question said this, and it had question A, B, C, and D. Let's say you were very convinced that answer B was correct. Probably the right answer was answer C. Now, when you fail it, make sure to read through the rationale behind the correct answer for that question. I cannot even emphasize this enough. I will tell you another thing. Even if you answer the question and you had it right, please make sure to go through the rationale, because the rationale, especially for UWorld, would also shed some light as to why the other answers were wrong, and it can also shed some light as to some little things to know about that particular wrong answer. So make sure you're going through the rationale. Same thing for the Archer review or any other study platform that you have. The rationale to me was the most important thing to look out for and to be studying. I had a book which I was writing down the important things to note from the rationale. That is to tell you how important the rationale is. And on the day that I had my exam, let's say the previous day, I read through everything that I had jotted down from the rationale from Archer Review and UWorld. Now, moving on to the 37 pages. It is actually 37 pages. You're going to read some things. Some things are going to be obvious. Some things might be new to you. Just jot them down on the same page, so that when you are kind of revising through it, you can just glance your eyes on those things that you've jotted down on the 37 pages. Again, I'm going to say the most important things I used to prepare for my NCLEX were the UWorld, Archer Review, and the 37 pages. I did not have time to go through my nursing notes. I feel like it's not important at that point, because before you graduated from school, you took the comprehensive exam maybe once or twice, and so I feel like the nursing notes at that point are not important, except if for some reason you are wondering why the rationale of a particular question's answer is what it is, then you can refer to your nursing note. That is not to say that your nursing notes are no longer important during this period. To me, to save time, I was just referring back to it when I felt like I needed more clarification on what the rationale was actually saying. The next thing I want you to know is this: when you're preparing for your NCLEX, I know so many people are out there saying they passed at 75 question, or when they hit the 75th question, and they hit maybe next the computer short, and evidently they passed the NCLEX. I want you to go with the mindset of, hey, I'm going to be answering all 150 questions. Do not put in your mind that, or limit yourself to the fact that, hey, if this person did it at 75 questions, definitely I too should be able to do it at 75 questions. This is not a competition exam. At the end of the day, we all are going to pass this exam. It doesn't matter whether you passed at 75, 80, or the other person passed at 123, 140, or 98 questions. At the end of the day, we are all passed, and we are all licensed to practice nursing. So I want you to go with the mindset that I'm going to be answering 150 questions. And if for any reason the computer shuts at question number 85, then you should know that, okay, you were actually well prepared for the exam, and you will be very good to go. The very next thing I must emphasize is this: please, when you graduate from your nursing school, do not compare yourself to your other classmates. Take for example, I remember when I just graduated, I had classmates who were like, oh, they've registered in 2 weeks after graduation to make sure they take the exam. Make sure that you're picking a date that is comfortable for you. And whatever A is doing, do not use it as a barometer or a measuring rod for your own self. Let me explain further. I had classmates who were telling me when they were taking like the UWorld, and UWorld is going to be telling you how prepared you are to take the NCLEX. Most of them, when they were taking the UWorld, they will say, oh, they were acing in the 75%. UWorld is actually rating them as good and, very prepared and very ready to take the exam. Never, never, never compare yourself with what another person's, preparation goals or preparation results are. That is going to dampen your spirit. I can also tell you that I had other students, or I had other classmates who told me that, hey, when they were doing the UWorld, they were actually acing like 25%, 30%, and all of that. But guess what? They also actually sat for the same NCLEX exam and passed the exam. I know that the aim of the UWorld is to make sure that you're answering to the best of your ability, and in so doing, UWorld is going to tell you if you are ready to take that NCLEX. I would not say that you should not believe in what UWorld is telling you in regards to how prepared you are for that exam, but I say this to say that you shouldn't let what they are saying dampen your spirit. If for any reason you're actually performing in the 25%, in the 40%, just keep going. Just keep up with the momentum. Just keep studying. Just keep, giving yourself more time to read, to study, go through the notes, everything you have jotted down. Just make sure that everything at that point is all geared and focused towards preparing for your NCLEX. So please, do not compare yourself with how prepared other people are, because I can tell you what, most of my classmates who said, oh, they felt like they were not ready enough because UWorld was rating them 30%, most of them sat for the NCLEX and passed on the first try. I wouldn't say that those who were, acing it in the 75% as UWorld was rating them did not pass. Most of them passed, but that is to say that please do not compare yourself with how other people are preparing as opposed to how long or how far you are coming along. The next thing I want to say, and I feel like this is very, very important, you do not need to feel like you know everything before you register for the exam. Let me repeat it again. Don't feel like you need to be at that point where you have mastered everything before you feel confident to register for the exam. Take for example, it took me a month to prepare for the exam. Once I graduated, I gave myself 30 days to be like, hey, I'm going to make sure that I'm ready to write this exam. Go ahead and schedule your exam. That is going to even motivate you more and push you to your limits to study even more and more, and put in more effort into it. Don't wait until you feel like, okay, I am ready for this exam, because I can tell you what, you will keep procrastinating and you will keep pushing and you will keep procrastinating, and before you know it, all your classmates are already working, or they are already in their third month working, whereas you are still struggling to be like, oh, I don't feel like I am there yet. Please don't do it. Once you graduate, I feel like 30 days should be enough for you to prepare, push yourself, study. It should be all about you, your NCLEX. That doesn't mean that you should, neglect or keep aside your responsibilities at home or any other thing that you usually do. But I say that to say, make sure that the NCLEX is your priority within these 30 days. So please, once you graduate from nursing school, go ahead, register for the exam, and make it a focus or make it a goal that by this day I should have maybe gone through UWorld maybe 80% or Archer review or whatever study material you'll be using to prepare for this exam. My next point has to do with, choosing your answers. Please, when you're choosing your answers, I feel like stick to your gut, stick to your instinct. If for any reason you are 100% sure that the answer you have chosen is the answer, please don't listen, don't succumb to the temptation to go and change that answer. I will tell you that there were some questions there that I wasn't familiar with, some questions that I was completely blank, but once I chose the answers, I just told myself that this is it and I'm moving on to the next question. So please, when you choose your answer, do not be tempted to change it. Just move on to the next question. The next thing I want to say is, I feel like it's going to be a repetition of something I've already said. Do not feel that you're going to know everything before you are actually walking into that room to take your exam. It is going to be impossible. Even the most prepared of prepared students have never ever felt like they knew everything. You'll be walking into that room feeling like, oh my goodness, I did not remember some specific numbers. Oh my goodness, I did not look through this one thing that I said I was going to look through before walking into the exam hall. I can tell you there have been people who have studied for like 3 months, even people who are retaking the exams for their second, third, fourth time, even when they're walking into that exam hall, you should be rest assured that most of them still feel like they don't know everything. So never be at the point where you think that your level of knowing everything is equal to how prepared you are for the exam. My next tip on the list is going to be, do not think that you're going to know every question on that exam. There are going to be some questions that you're going to be so clueless. You will feel like, did I really go to nursing school? Or when the teacher was teaching this, was I really in class? Or was I just absent-minded while I was in class when they were teaching this? Do not feel like every question that is going to come through you'll be familiar with. I can tell you I had questions that I had zero clue as to what the correct answer or even the wrong answers were. Like, there are going to be several questions that you'll be clueless as to what the right answer is. What I did in that case was I went with my gut feeling. If I felt like I knew nothing about this question, I just aimed for whatever felt like was right. I just chose that answer and I moved on to the next question. There is no need for you to kill yourself as in, why don't I know this? How come I've never heard of this? I feel like the NCLEX people purposely throw in some questions that they know that some students will have no clue on. But again, do not kill yourself or dampen your spirit while you're in the exam room. That should even motivate you more to be like, you know what? I don't know this answer. Let me just choose this because my instinct feels like this is the right answer. And let's move on to the next one, which is more important, which I think I might know what it's talking about. Look, I do not know about you, but for me, I knew that SATA questions were my worst kind of questions. I'm talking about select all the above or all that apply. I used to dread these questions because I feel like these were questions that if for any reasons the answer out of 6 needed 4 correct answers and then you chose maybe 3, then you will fail it. Or if the answers were just 3 and then you chose 4 answers, then you will fail it. It always felt like, especially in nursing school for me, it always felt like I never had those questions correctly, because if it was 5 correct answers, I was either choosing maybe 3 or I was either choosing 4, or if it needed just 3 answers, I was either choosing more than what was required, and so I always ended up failing SATA questions. Let me tell you the trick of how I used to get around select all the above or select all that applies, the SATA questions. The first thing is this: when you get a SATA question, use the elimination process. Whatever the question says, you look for answers that are obvious that they have no relation to this question. You cancel that one out. You go again, the next one, does this one look like it has no relationship with this? You cancel that one out. I feel like if your instincts tell you that some questions or some answers may have a relationship with that, except if you are very, very certain because of maybe a number or a word, then I think that you should comfortably settle for that answer as one of the answers to that question. Again, I used the elimination process when it came to the SATA questions, and for some reason this was a tactic that I learned when I was preparing for NCLEX. I didn't know this elimination process when it came to SATA questions while I was still in nursing school. So yeah, I wish that I had known about it. But again, I will tell you, when it comes to SATA questions, the best method to answer those questions is to use the elimination process. I hated SATA questions. I'm sure you hated SATA questions. And we all hated SATA questions. My next tip, which is very important, is please have a positive mindset when it comes to the NCLEX. Or it makes no sense when you're preparing for an exam and you're already having a defeated mindset that this exam is not for you, that this exam is more than you, that this exam is, above you, that this exam is pressing you down. make sure you are having a very positive mindset. I can tell you that a positive mindset is going to give you the much needed confidence that you need for this exam. So in as much as you're studying for those UWorld and you're failing those questions, you're using the Archer review or whatever platform you're using to study for your NCLEX, always keep a positive mindset. I always told myself that if I am failing those questions on the UWorld, it means that, or it gives me even more opportunity for me to be like, hey, this is something I don't know. Then I should have a more open mindset to be like, I need to open up my mind and read the rationale and make sure I learn something from there. I never was studying with a negative mindset. I kept telling myself that, look, this NCLEX exam will only be on things that I have been taught in school. A few of them might be things just thrown randomly on my face, but majority of them are things I have heard, things that I know, and things that I should trust myself that the right answer is what I know and think it should be. So please make sure you are having a positive mindset whilst studying for the NCLEX exam, as well as having a positive mindset while in the examination room. I cannot end this video without mentioning the most important thing, that kind of reshaped my preparedness and my preparation for the NCLEX, and that will be the Klimek video or audio. I do know that the audio or the video is kind of copyrighted to share on YouTube, but there's still some people who have it on their YouTube channel. If for any reason you can find the complete one, I think it was kind of like 19 hours or 20-hour video. What I did was I listened to everything that Klimek was saying in that audio and I wrote it down from illustrations, examples, exam tips and tricks, things to look out for when you are reading the questions, things to expect when it comes to the exam. I was so focused on the Klimek. I know that when I was in nursing school, the students who were, ahead of me, most of them were talking about the Klimek. All of them were like, hey, we are just going to do the Klimek audio because that is what everyone has sworn by. So they did that and they were fine. And I'm here to tell you that the Klimek video, I would say, gave me like 70% readiness, then topping up the UWorld and the Archer review. I can swear by the Klimek audio that it really came in so very handy, because he explains some tips and tricks on how to easily remember things, tips and tricks on how to, easily interpret questions, what to look out for when it came to certain topics, certain, things for some particular questions. So the Klimek video came in very handy. If you can find anyone on YouTube, which I know there is still plenty out there, please make sure maybe you're recording it on your phone, or you can get a recorder and record it. And what I did was I went through the video once, went through it again a second time, and I went through it a third time. 20 hours. I think it's either a 20 hours or it's like a 40-hour video. I can't remember. It's been 3 years, but I went through that Klimek audio 3 times. What I did was this: the very first time when I was watching it, it took me like, I think 3 days. Remember I said I was writing down the notes and everything that was important from that Klimek audio, so it kind of took me a longer time. And then after that, jotting down all of that, I came now, read through everything that I have read. It took me like 2 days or maybe 1 day to absorb everything. And then let's say another day I'm home just doing some house chores, or maybe I am driving, I'm just listening to it in the background. I had listened to it 3 times and I was at a point where sometimes I could say what he was going to say even before he said it, because I had absorbed the Klimek audio very, very well. Again, I know that it's kind of rare to find it online on YouTube, because he's actually making sure that his property stays his property. So if you know anybody that still has it, kind of reach out to them and, ask them if they can share it with you, because it really came in handy. I know 3 years ago that he used to have some classes that he was organizing which were paid for. If you know of anyone that is upcoming, I will urge you, I will encourage you to actually go for it, pay for it, and I can assure you that it's going to be worth the money. The next thing that I want to urge you to, get familiar and, keep using it often is SATA registered nurse. I can tell you I used her during nursing school and it was so helpful. Let's say I was, driving to school to go write an exam. I would just Google, or I would just check out one of her videos that had some particular subject that I knew that I was taking the exam on that topic, and the way she explains it, she breaks it down, she writes it on her whiteboard. It's so simplified, it's so easy to understand. Again, I always say this, that when I'm driving, I'm doing house chores at home, I am constantly listening to that, my Klimek or the SATA registered nurse. Be mindful that this is something that you will only be doing for at least a month. So I feel like, why not just go all out and do what you think or what you feel you have to do in order to, pass this NCLEX and move on to the next thing. After all the preparation has been set and done, you know that your day, your scheduled day for your exam is fast approaching. I will urge you that on the day before that exam, make sure that whatever purse bag that you're taking into the to the examination venue, make sure you already have your ID. If you need like your water, your pen, pencils, everything that you're going to be needing for that exam, make sure that everything is all set and ready to go. Anything that you think that you're going to be needing for that exam, please make sure everything is set and ready to go. If you need to have filled the tank in your car, everything, like, just make sure that nothing is going to hinder you to be feeling so stressed when you're getting to the examination room. The next thing I want to urge is that make sure you are getting enough rest. I know there is a lot that is going through your mind. There is a lot to remember. It feels like the time is still not enough, like you still need to grasp. Look, calm down, just go to sleep, have a good 7 to 8 hours rest, because I can tell you're going to need a very rested and relaxed mind when you're interpreting those questions in the exam room. You are very much so going to need it. Make sure to always wake up early too. Let's say you scheduled your exam for 10 a.m. Please make sure that you're leaving your house, at least for me, 2 hours, so that you get to the exam venue at least an hour, so that you are not rushing in there at the last minute and you're scrambling and you're sweating and you're panting and you're asking people and looking kind of like stupid and just running around helter-skelter like someone who doesn't know what they're actually there for. Make sure that you wake up early, make sure you get to the examination venue early, so that it gives you a very composed, relaxed, mindset to be able to face your future in that room before that computer and with everything that it takes, so that you can leave that room with so much confidence knowing that you've passed your exam. The very last thing I want you to know is this: once that computer shuts off, whatever question is shut off at, please don't start thinking of things. Don't start telling yourself, oh my goodness, it shut off at 80. Did I pass? Did I fail? Oh, my own questions are still going. Oh my goodness, does that mean that I am actually stupid? Or does that mean that I am not up to par? Just keep answering your questions. Just keep going. Whatever number it stops at, just tell yourself that you have given it your best, you have given it your all, and that it's now left for, the people who, grade the exams to tell you what they have to tell you. And on that note, I want to say thank you for staying right up to the end of this video. I do hope that this video was very informative. If you actually liked the video, please do not forget to give me a thumbs up, share the video, and please subscribe to my channel. And from me to you, I'm going to say stay blessed, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.